Welcome back to the Morning Brief. Let's start with the big issue for the day and the hard ones, as Coyote has said, before we get to the moment where we talk about Valentine. And it has to do with the issue of the regulator NAFDAC banning sachet alcohol, and that has gotten reaction from the stakeholders in that particular space. That's why we're joined by one of them to hear their own side of the story, why they are protesting against the ban, and they've also, I think, given an ultimatum. We've been joined from via Zoom by the National President, Food, Beverage and Tobacco Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Mr. Jimoh Oyibo. Mr. Oyibo, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Good morning, and good to join you.
Well, I know that you've made a lot of cases, some of the cases you've made about, as a stakeholder, as far as this ban is concerned, but I want to maybe not say verbatim what exactly they said. I'm talking about the regulator NAFDAC, but they mentioned the fact that children who drink alcohol are more likely to use drugs, get bad grades, suffer injury and death, engage in risky sexual activity, bad decisions, and have health problems, which basically is saying that one of the reasons why they are worried and had to go ahead with this ban is from their own research. They found out that access is easy and abuse became inevitable, especially for underage children who may not have the discretion to decide how responsibly they can use this. I don't know whether that's not good enough for the association to reason with the regulator as far as this ban is concerned.
Thank you very much. I think sometimes in order for you to hang a dog, you give it a bad name. I don't know if you have ever seen a situation where an underage, after getting drunk, misbehave along the street. Have you seen one? I doubt if you have seen one, and I have not seen either. Okay? The excuse that it is easily accessible by underage is just a propaganda as far as I'm concerned. If that is the case, there are so many other things that children can have access to. All what the authority needs is all about regulation. It's just about regulation. Because if we know too well that, yes, underage can access it or have access to it, all they just need to do is to have access control. Who do the dealers sell to? And if I will also remind you, DBAN, which is the Distillers Association of Distillers and Blenders Association of Nigeria, has placed several adverts, you know, kind of passing the message that adults should drink responsibly, while underage should not be given access to such products. Okay? Which is enough message to also guide the authority in taking their decision. If you also look at the tobacco sector, you see a situation where the producers says smokers are liable to die young. Okay? That is an attempt to also dissuade people, okay, not to have access of it. So if NAFDAC is coming to say, oh, because they are easily accessible to children, to me, it's a propaganda. Because this thing did not just start today.
Mr. Oyibo, are you saying that a regulator as NAFDAC will not have empirical data to support their stance before they come out to ban this?
Sir, it is just a propaganda. They don't even have the statistics to show for what they are claiming. No statistics. They just come up on the air to say, oh, because children can have easy access to them, these products are banned. There is no statistics as far as I am concerned at this point. So if they have such data, let them throw it to the public. I challenge them, let them throw it to the public to say, these are the available data that shows children have access to these products.
Well, Mr. Jimoh,
there's not.
Just before I move on to the next point, are you ruling out the possibility that children may hide this from their children, from their parents, you know, along with other activities that, you know, toe the path of youthful exuberance, they could hide this from their parents. And evidence suggests that a lot more youths are indulging in related conducts that are unwholesome, for instance, drug abuse.
No matter how children hide it from their parents, it must one day come to the open. It must one day come to the open. And so when it comes to the open, we challenge NAFDAC to say, give us the data of what we have. So based on the data we have, we can begin to engage ourselves and see how better we can handle them. So once they come up with their data, honestly, what we need at this point is constructive engagement. Let us see how best to handle it, not outright ban. Not outright ban. Of course, whether we like it or not, so many things we take in is subject to abuse, not only alcohol, even the food you take, even the bar you eat, it is also subject to abuse. And that is the more reason why people say enough is better than too much. All you need to do is to take something that is commensurate with your health. We have said that severally. Enough is better than too much. Drink responsibly and don't sell to any underage. That message is already in the public domain. And so there is no way NAFDAC will come and hold producers liable on this. So what they need to do is to come out with policies, regulations that will guide the purchase and consumption of these products. Well,
speaking of regulation, NAFDAC is also saying that the Association of Food, Beverage and Tobacco Employers, AFBTE, and Distillers and Blenders Association of Nigeria, DBAN, signed an agreement with the Ministry of Health, NAFDAC and the FCCPC in 2018 December that they will phase out production of alcohol in sachet and PET bottles less than 200 ml by January 31, 2024. Mr. Jimo, are you aware of that document? Perhaps that document was signed before you became president of the association. FOBTOB, I believe, is what you're called.
To me, I don't have, I've never laid my hand on such document, but if that is to be, let's assume that is to be, okay? The memorandum of understanding they signed is not a law. It is a memorandum of understanding. And if you go into signing a memorandum of understanding, what do you do when the expiration date comes? You still have to engage the stakeholders who were part of that agreement to review the processes. So if there's a point to review, we review. You don't just come, we had the memorandum of understanding, the date of expiration came, and then unilaterally you just place a ban. Come to the factories and sell it up. That is not the way to go. I had expected that NAFDAC would have engaged the stakeholders, those who were there when the agreement was signed, to also take a look. Have we done anything right? Have we done anything wrong? Where it is wrong, what do we do to correct it? That is the way to go, not outright ban, because the consequences is very, very grievous.
So this was not contained in the handover notes given to you, and even if it was not, don't you think that shouldn't the association be bound by document it signed to?
We are not part of that agreement.
All right.
We are not part of that agreement. NAFDAC never engaged the union in any agreement.
But
if they choose, they have, let them throw it to you.
But it is said that the Association of Food, Beverages and Tobacco Employers were part of that. And I imagine it will have trickled down to the workers that are members of your union. I understand. But I'm saying that workers in your union are employed by the employers who were a part of this particular agreement. And in fact, NAFDAC, forgive me. NAFDAC said categorically that they stopped the registration of alcoholic beverages in January 2022. So it doesn't appear abrupt, as some people have said it. So it was said that, well, registration has stopped, but we'll gradually phase it out.
Have you seen the content of that document? Have you seen the content of that document?
Are you saying that that is not true, that NAFDAC is
not telling the truth?
I never said it is not true. What I'm saying is that, have you seen the content of that document?
Yes, I'm reading a statement from NAFDAC to you.
If two of, let's just paint a scenario.
Yeah.
You have a tenant in your house. Okay? You have agreed that you will pay X naira at the end of every year or at the end of every month. If you have any reason to quit the man, would you engage him?
Okay, Mr. Oyibo, I just need you to either confirm or otherwise that this is true or not. I'm reading a statement by NAFDAC.
I have said it that the union were never part of that agreement.
Okay.
If there's an agreement between the employers and NAFDAC, it's a different thing. But what I'm also saying is that if such agreement exists, it will take the two bodies or any other party that is part of it to come back to look at what they have signed years back. The reason for this is to see whether there is a way they can also kind of review the processes.
Comrade,
and then address the concerns of NAFDAC.
Right. I know that you raised the issue about how this will adversely affect those employed within that sector. It's also been said that the products are not only just in sachets, that the manufacturers have the option of bottling it in the bigger bottles. So it's not as though they are phasing out the manufacturers entirely. But I find it curious, and I need to make this point, that you said that there's no proof, or NAFDAC should give proof, that underage are consuming alcohol from time to time. I don't know if you've been to motor parks, if you've been on the streets. There is a challenge of even drug abuse with underage, particularly in those areas, and alcohol plays a major role. I have seen personally, and I don't know if that's proof enough for you, young people purchasing alcohol in small sachets and sipping on it at different times of the day. So I really find it curious that you say that. Some might say maybe you are trying to hide from the truth.
It's not hiding from the truth. First of all, you are talking of it was not outright closure that we still have to leverage on the big pack sizes, right?
Yeah.
Everything the company is doing, because of the nature of our economy, okay, it is targeted at people who can afford it. Affordability is the essence of having the smaller pack sizes. Because how many of us can go and buy a bigger bottle? So closing the company for the sake of the smaller pack sizes is as good as closing the entire company. Because that is where the source of their income comes. That is one. Two, you mentioned garage. Garage is not an environment for children. Garage is not an environment for children, unless of course they are traveling. It is for adults. And that is why I continue to say garage is never an environment for children.
Mr. Oyibo, I think you maybe let's put it properly. Not like to respond, but we're talking about children. We're talking about underage, and by the Constitution, anybody below 18 is underage. So I don't know where you live. I don't know where you've been to, but young people consume a lot of alcohol. I do not know whether you know about that. Young people, maybe that will work for you. Maybe your problem with the argument is the word children. So let me expand it to say underage young people.
On that age is 17 down below. And I've just answered your question that you said the garage.
And other places.
And other places. And other places, we're just using garage to just posit it, because we've had incidents of even adults consuming this thing, hit the road, and people die because of drivers consuming alcohol. But unfortunately, yes, just land on your thought, because we're totally out of time.
If you want to if you want to hang a dog, you give it a bad name. I ask you this question: have you seen any underage child after getting himself or herself drunk misbehave along the street? Have you seen one?
No, that argument may not hold, because sometimes they have to do these things. Mr. Oyibo,
that will lead me to another. Have you seen one?
Well, I just actually told Mr. Oyibo that I have seen young people purchasing alcohol.
This in sachet.
You have not been specific about the age.
Underage, below 18.
Underage, Mr. Oyibo.
COVID-19 is...
Well, I understand where you're coming from. I understand that investments to the tune of 12 trillion naira has been, according to the data we have from you. So it's understandable that you make this argument to defend your business, but we need to find a balance so that people will be alive at the end of the day and will not expose our young people. So I'm sure that NAFDAC, as well as your organization and other sister organizations, will come together to find a way to keep our society safe. But I must thank you, Mr.
The problem NAFDAC is creating as a result of this ban, is far greater than what is trying to solve. All
right, Mr. Jim Oyibo is the National President, yes. Tobacco, Beverage, and Tobacco Beverage Senior Staff Association of Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that we continue this conversation. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
There's a lot to talk about, apparently, as far as this ban is concerned. But we'll switch gears now to other issues, especially the issue of security. If you look at the numbers, civilians, people in the military, the police, vigilante, and others have been killed, one form or the other, across our country at different times, in different years. And the resurgence of insecurity across part of the country is giving a lot of people concern. That is why we will be having that conversation, because yesterday, the National Assembly engaged the service chief in a security briefing, about 10 hours conversation. What did they say? What was the outcome of that conversation? We'll try to explore that conversation when we come back. Join us again.